Welcome to Not Another PD, the podcast for helping professionals who are over dull trainings and death by slideshow workshops. I'm Jasmine Purcell, social worker, coach, supervisor, and self-proclaimed boundaries queen. Each week, you'll hear real, honest conversations, sometimes solo, sometimes with expert guests. Think insider perspectives, practical takeaways, and a focus on your well-being, not just how you show up for clients. This podcast is about you, the human behind the caseload, the human behind the profession. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. This is episode 5. I'm not alone this time. I'm joined with Nat. She's an exercise physiologist, and not just any exercise physiologist. She's my exercise physiologist. Thank you so much for being here, Nat. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. For anyone listening who isn't sure what an exercise physiologist is, what do you actually do?
We essentially use exercise as medicine. So our main clientele is chronic conditions, people that have had something for a long time, essentially. So whether that's musculoskeletal, it can sometimes be neurological as well, or even sometimes pregnancy as well, postnatal, prenatal. We work with a very large variety of clientele, and we essentially use exercise to treat those conditions.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
That's so much more fun than just going to a doctor and getting a tablet, that you're actually supporting people through movement. Yes. I know it's been absolutely life-changing for me, and I'm so happy that we've met. And thank you so much for all of your support, and thank you for being here with us.
No worries at all. You've been a delight.
Oh, thank you. You have to say that. We're filming. And to be an exercise physiologist, what do you have to study?
So you have to do an undergraduate or a bachelor and a master's. So it does take a little while at uni. It usually will add up to about 5 years. So 3-year undergrad, and then it'll be the 1.5 to 2-year master's, depending on whether you go full-time or part-time. Full-time is obviously a little bit more intense.
Yes.
Yes. And it is a master's, so it's definitely a little bit harder in terms of the study, and the workload that you do is quite intense, but very much worth it.
And all of my audience are helping professionals like us who actually support others in their daily work. And this is such an important topic, because what I'm hearing so often is that helping professionals who care so much about others are not actually getting regular movement in their own days. So they'll get to the end of the week and they haven't even gone for a short walk, and sometimes just getting started with movement seems so overwhelming for someone who's already really busy.
Yes.
In your role, do you see a lot of really busy professionals who struggle to get even like basic movement into their days?
100%. Yeah, I see lots of different clientele, but it's mainly can be mums that are super busy. They've got a few kids at home. Their life is sort of revolving around their kids.
Yes, I know what that's like.
Yes,
as
exactly
a mum myself.
right. Yes, and I always say like super mums everywhere, because I just don't know how you can do that. And I like what you're doing is so helpful, because there's going to be so many mums out there that don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to essentially look after themselves. So it's very beneficial to have that well-being approch and the holistic view.
Yes. And you've also seen my daughter, so you definitely helped with her as well.
Yes.
She still speaks about you.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she wanted to come today, and I said, well, no, this is just the adults talking.
She could have asked me a few questions too.
Oh,
you
she
never
could
know.
have. I'm sure she'd ask you many questions. And Nat, a lot of the helping professionals that I support in my business, and also for myself, given I work from home all the time, a lot of professionals work from a screen and they don't get any regular movement breaks throughout the day. Mm-hmm. What is like some of those impacts based on your experience of people who spend so much time sitting down behind a desk, behind a screen, and then not getting regular movement in?
I guess the main impact is, the main one I would say, is probably mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you're not moving and you're sitting down for a lot of your day, yes, you get the musculoskeletal side of things. You'll get probably some low back pain for one, sometimes hip pain, sometimes upper back pain as well. It tends to be in those sort of areas. And your body tends to be a little bit tighter as well when you're sitting down for, let's say, 8 hours of the day. But the main things that we sort of want to do are just like standing up as much as you can, moving around through the day. You can find that your posture changes a bit as well. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, when they're sitting at the desk for so long typing, they tend to be like leaning their head forward a little bit more.
Yeah, I've noticed that about myself.
Too.
I'm like, I seem like shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, I always seem shorter, yes.
Yeah, and you get shorter through the day. It tends to be only a little bit, but it's more just because your spine compresses throughout the day. So when you start your day, your spine is essentially elongated, like it's the longest it could possibly be. And then it starts to compress and compress through the day. So that's where movement comes in too, because if you're getting some more mobility, you're moving your body more, then your spine may not be as compressed by the end of the day, and you'll just generally feel quite a bit better. So mental health side of it as well, if you're not moving, we tend to see some more of your, I would say, depression. It could be one thing, anxiety, social isolation as well. If you tend to be sitting down all day, especially at home, when you're not interacting with other people,
it gets boring. It does take a toll on you.
100%. And you get used to it.
Yeah.
So you start to get into that, like that's your comfort zone, and it's very, very tricky to get out of it.
And we know there's no growth in our comfort zone. We need to actually move outside of that too.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I've found really helpful for me to actually incorporate regular movement into, like, literally every single day. I never have a day that I don't move. You know me, I'm a little bit obsessed. But having that regular movement in my day also improves my confidence, because then I have certain goals that I'm working towards.
Yeah,
so
exactly
even
right.
For people who haven't exercised regularly before, they don't have any movement in their day, do you have some recommendations on those sort of really small steps that someone can start with, from that sort of incidental exercise, maybe to get some lunch from the kitchen or a cup of tea? How can someone actually start?
Well, yeah, it's definitely small steps for one. If you haven't done exercise, whether it's been a while or never, it's always small steps, and starting lighter and building up from there. So yes, it is that incidental exercise. It's the getting up to go for a coffee. If you're in the office, maybe getting up and going for a quick 5-minute walk, if it is just around whatever level you're on, for example.
It kind of almost resets you, because you're also changing, you're changing the environment, you're moving from behind a screen. And I know for myself, having regular movement breaks, especially when I work from home, it can help. If you're having regular online meetings, it can be helpful to still connect with people, but then there's nothing that really replaces that face-to-face contact with other people.
Exactly right. It's like you and I sitting here today, like, it's just having someone in front of you and actually being able to see them rather than just through a screen changes completely. So yes, it is going out and changing your environment, going outside for a walk if you're at home, if you're in the office. Additionally, doing that with friends or people that you work with that you're happy to go for a walk with, to get a coffee with them. It would be just really small things like that to integrate in your day, and doing it whenever you have the time. Because time is such a factor. So many people are so busy all the time. So it's wherever you can fit it, that's when you're going to do it. That's when you're going to get that movement, as you know.
Yeah, and I think with anything, if you make those small changes to your routine, and then if you start to see those small successes, even if you commit to going for a short 10-minute break every lunchtime for as many days as you can manage initially, and then you can kind of build on from there.
Exactly right. And it takes a while to develop a habit. So just bear that in mind as well. Like, that's why I say starting small. If you start with, I'm going to go for a walk every day for the whole week, and then suddenly you can't do that anymore, it does tend to break that habit, and it makes it a lot harder to build up a routine, build up that consistency. If you say to yourself, oh, I might do it twice a week and I'll start off with that because that's achievable, you're more likely to build up your consistency and you're more likely to have that as a habit.
That's true.
Yeah.
And what I also see, and I've noticed it in myself as well, that if you're just starting to get movement into your day and then you set yourself these really unrealistic expectations, do you see that as well with people, they first start working with you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's why we're very holistic. We're very much all the other factors that might come around exercise also are included in our approach and the way that we might go about someone's goals, for example. So it's exactly that. Like, so many people will come in and say, I haven't done exercise before, I just need to get back into it.
Yeah.
And they might say, oh, I reckon I can do 3 days. And you kind of have to be like, is that reasonable? Is 3 days actually something that you can do for, whether it's the next 4 weeks, ideally for, long term? And they might actually say, look, I actually don't think so.
Yeah, let's be realistic.
You can always build up from somewhere. It's a lot harder to start with more and then be decreasing that and trying to get back to doing more.
That makes sense. And a lot of others in these sort of helping professions, sometimes we can have a bit of the perfectionist qualities. So we think because we're, so skilled in our professional roles that we can support clients with sort of complex presentations, that it can be easy for us to place these unrealistic expectations on ourselves and try and get everything perfect and right, the first time. But using, I guess, the example of when we first started working together, and then one of my goals was it to be able to do 5 push-ups?
Yep.
And I think I could do 1, and I probably struggled at 1, to be honest, when we first started working together. And if I had have initially set my goal as, I want to now be able to do 30 within 4 weeks, you probably would have said, hang on, let's pull it back, Jazz. This is not really realistic for you because I didn't come to you with that skill.
Yeah.
But then I'm so pleased to say, what was my last push-up count? It was over 10, I think.
I think we've hit 20.
20? Wow.
Yeah.
It's not on my program anymore, though. I don't think it is. We've moved a few things around.
We've changed some goals up, which is another thing. Like, you will change up your goals after a while. Like, after you've been doing something, there's always something new that people want to work on. So that's exactly why, even with you, we changed up the goals because there was other things you wanted to work on.
So now I want to do chin-ups.
Exactly.
That's my new one. So what's one boundary that you've put in place that separates your professional and your work life, Nat?
I would say the one boundary I've put in is I don't train at work anymore. So we do work in gyms. It would be very, very easy for me to come in and train before or after I start and finish work.
Almost too convenient.
Yes, exactly right. But I have stopped doing that just purely because I was getting to work, say, an hour before, and I would put all my stuff in the office. So I was automatically sort of already at work, I was straight into that. And I found that by the end of the day, I really felt like I was at work for an extra hour, even though that's supposed to be my, I guess, recreational enjoyment time. So now that I've stopped doing that, I do find that when I'm at work, I can be a bit more present. And I just get whatever I need to get done in the shift that I have, essentially. And then I can really just zone out by the end of it, like go home and forget.
Yeah. And sometimes as well, when we don't have the clear boundaries between our professional selves and our personal lives, is that pretty much what you were saying, Nat, that we're always on, we never actually have a break. And I had that similar experience, but obviously I have a different line of work to you. But when I used to work in a government role, I worked really close to a market. So sometimes I would get to work early to get some groceries from the market.
Yeah.
So I would go into the office, I'd put my stuff down, and then I'd walk up to the market, then return with my, with my weekly groceries. But then what happened was then there would be colleagues who got there super early and would then think that's a great opportunity to start talking about client cases and just having a social chat. And then I'd really have to kind of like rein them in and say, yeah, I know I'm here early, but I'm actually going to the market. So imagine I'm not even here. So it's like if you're training at the place you work, it's almost like you need an invisible cloak that, like you're Invisigirl, that you just, that you just put your invisible cloak on, you do your workout, and then no one kind of knows it, you're there. But then you also raised a really important point about being in a separate environment. So we spend so much of our days at work, often in one environment, often indoors as well. And you're in a gym all day, which for people like me that are in a home office all day, I think that would be like the dream. But because that's kind of like your office, but then you'd also need a different space other than the gym that you see your clients in. So that's a really great boundary.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the boundary, but I knew that there was something that I needed to change.
Yeah.
And I did. And
so I'm glad we're having this conversation around boundaries as well, because that it enables us, like I said, hopefully by having clear boundaries in place, and we can prevent like professionals like us and anyone listening to try and reduce the likelihood of experiencing burnout and sort of be able to stay in our roles to keep supporting more and more people that do need our support.
Yeah, because if we're burnt out, we're not going to be able to give much.
That's true. And not even to ourselves. If we're burnt out, then not only we can't support our clients, but then also we can't even take care of our own basic needs, like our movement. Back to the movement, all just circles right back. Nat, how can people, if they're really wanting to work with you or any of your amazing colleagues, how can they actually get in touch?
So I work at MK Movement. We work in 3 different locations. So like we were talking about before, we work mainly in gyms, but they are leisure centres. So we also work in hydrotherapy pools, which is warm water. Basically, if you want to contact us, we do have a website. So it would be www.mkmovement.com.au. Otherwise, our phone number and email, so it'd be admin@mkmovement, that is all on the website. So the website will also give you a good gauge of what we do, why we do it, the clientele that we work with as well. So everything should be on the website.
And what about Instagram? What's the Instagram handle?
The Instagram handle is mkmovement_AEP.
Okay.
And that will have some of our testimonials of clients, a lot of the different things that we're doing throughout the year, basically.
And if people are not sure, like if you can support them or what different services that MK Movement provide, can you just give us a brief? And I know you mentioned this on the website, but for people who are time poor, which we all are, what are some, I guess, the main ways that helping professionals out there who are listening are able to work with MK Movement?
So main things that we do is we offer one-on-one services, whether that's hydrotherapy in the gym, at home. It can also be telehealth, which would be sort of via Zoom most likely. Otherwise, we do also offer an online coaching service, which Matt, my colleague, runs. And there's a little bit more to that, again, on the website if you want some more details. But they're the main things that we go through. I, as an EP, tend to work more on the hydrotherapy side of things. We also have a few groups. So we have a number of different people that are in a hydrotherapy group or a gym group. So again, like we were talking about with that social interaction, that is provided through the group. And we also run different coffee catch-ups every month.
Coffee catch-ups? I don't know about these. Why are you keeping that a secret from me, Nat?
With our groups.
Oh, with the groups.
That's why.
That's why. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just one of your individual solo lone wolf type clients. That's fine. Okay. That's a lovely addition, a coffee catch-up, to sort of reduce some of that, social isolation that many of us do experience. That sounds amazing. But I'll put all that in the show notes, so you'll be able to connect with Nat and the team at MK Movement. And Nat, honestly, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast. You're my very first guest, which is super exciting. And hopefully this can be the first of many conversations, because I'm sure once people hear about, all that exercise physiology can really bring to people's lives and how it can enrich your movement, I'm sure people will want further conversations as well.
I hope so too. And yes, if for any reason you feel like exercise physiology after listening to this is something that's for you, give us a call.
Please do. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to Not Another PD. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with a colleague who could use stronger boundaries, less burnout, and more balance. And don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep saying yes less.